I guess we owe some congratulations to TPUSA after the Parker event. After the Parker event failed. It's Charlie Kirk talking about the TPUSA event. Who's got that clip? Send me the clip of that. One of you guys has the clip. Mystery, maybe you got it. But send it over where Charlie Kirk is talking about how nobody showed up to the Counter Turning Point USA college tour. I think that's hilarious. Yes, this is the one.
Okay, this is going to be a really fun story to cover, but it's going to require a little bit of explanation and a little bit of wind-up because not everybody in this audience is on TikTok. So first, I want to welcome our guest. He goes by the term the older millennial. He has a wonderful TikTok that I've enjoyed. It's great to have him on the program at the new older millennial. Is that right? At the new older millennial. It must be a new account after he got banned or something. Is that right? I'm guessing.
Yes, that's correct. The new older millennial, account number 65.
Yeah, I know it's old, but this is the one I was looking at. I was looking for. I know it's 2 weeks old, but who cares? I haven't had a chance to review it yet.
Okay, well, you and I should chat about that offline. So we're going to now set the table here. So at Turning Point USA, we have these incredibly successful campus tours. Our audience is well aware of that. We're drawing thousands of people to them. The video interactions literally are seen billions and billions of times on social media. So enter the left. They see the impact that we're
Hat tip to Stacy in Discord, says Mr. Enigmatic. Don't be talking up women in this chat, bro.
having, and a group of, let's just say trolls, to put it nicely, a circus act that mostly exist on TikTok, but a little bit on Instagram. They get very jealous that we're having this success at Turning Point USA. So they decide to launch their own counter to literally follow me around the country and stalk me as a way to try to troll and disrupt the event. They call
Now, all of that is actually accurate. You know, he's not even indulging in the tale here. This is just completely accurate. So I remember when Parker made the announcement along with Dean that they were going to be basically trailing them, basically like the battlefield vultures, you know, who would trail armies. And then after everybody was dead in the field, they would just go and like pick the bones clean for treasure. That's basically what they said they're going to do. They're just going to follow them around and do this, right?
Call themselves the Un-F America Tour. We're not going to use the term here because we are on radio and we would get a big fine. It is run by two young trolls by the name of Dean and Parker.
Well, I'll say it's America is what their tour is supposed to be.
If you don't know who they are, you are living a much greater life than I am because they're rather unenjoyable people. And so I've debated them both on Jubilee. Anyway, so they show up to text saying,
why do they all look the same, too? You know, like Harry Sison, the rest of these dorks. They all have the same dork haircut, you know? They all have the same dork haircut. They're all goober looking. I don't know what the hell is wrong with these kids.
A&M, they get really upset because I didn't immediately call them up on stage, even though I invited them. I debated some of their other internet trolls, completely went viral, made them look terrible and bad. But here's the fun story. Why is this worthy of our time? Well, because their entire operation is now collapsed. Yeah, look how big of a crowd they drew.
You see the Crucible events we have. I'm not saying they're TPUSA big. They're not. But holy look at this. Look at that. They even threw in like a token dude. You know, you got to throw in the token guy, right? They even threw in the token guy. You know, I wonder how much they paid him. Nick, Dean, and Parker went to him and were like, all you have to do is stand there and look. That's it. Just stand there and look. We'll give you a nice paycheck when this is all said and done. You know they did it. You know they did it. You know they did.
Contrast to ours. And it's collapsed because of wokeism and DEI. And this is what's so important, everybody.
So let's see. There's the Kirk event, right? There's the Kirk event. There's the America event. You know, it doesn't. These guys, they have to learn this valuable lesson that being popular on TikTok is actually not very difficult to do. That's not a hard thing to do. Your fame or your clout into real world action, which is what Kirk is doing here, that's hard to do. That's what's difficult to do. And they are now learning this lesson the hard way, you see. Because having these big networks, which are in place across all of these colleges, allows for Kirk and TPUSA to do huge amounts of marketing all over the place so that they can push turnout for these events. These idiots go on their TikTok and are like, hey guys, guess what? It's going to be the greatest thing ever. We're going to go, and we're going to troll Charlie Kirk. Yeah, does that sound awesome, guys? Nobody shows up. Nobody shows up.
Buddy. So they put together kind of this pseudo super PAC that is now basically dissolved. They're all infighting. Why? Well, because their organizer was racist using microaggressions. Mr. Older Millennial, fill in the gaps here and talk as if people in the audience have no idea of the baseline facts here, and let's walk through this.
That is a very, very woman. Andrew, the Dune game in beta this weekend is pretty good. Here's 50 for the unemployment check. Love you. Kisses. You know, it's a real job, okay? It is. And I'm not coping. You're coping. You're coping.
So you had it right off the bat, is that they basically.
Why is there a picture of why is there a picture of some chick here? Why are we looking at that? Why is this chick taking up the whole screen? Who the is this chick?
Just decided they were going to follow you around and basically try to ape off your success. And the entire event was just poorly planned from the beginning because, one, they didn't reserve anything, they didn't set it up, and they brought 52 creators for a 4-hour talk, just wasting money like that. But they showed up, and obviously they got very upset that they didn't get to move to the front of the line. They were reminded very quickly of their lack of importance to most people in the world, and they went and set up on the far side of campus, where, funnily enough, the sprinklers went off, and they had to pay to get them shut off, which is beyond hilarious. But they had their little event, and what happened is before the event happened, there had been some accusations of microaggressions against the creators of color. And so whether it was the minority creators said that they were.
What? The creators of color? It's micro. What?
Were microaggressed because they weren't given extra security, which is what they felt they needed when they went to Texas. And they weren't given enough say. There was no minorities as headliners. And that's what they accused. They accused her deeply of racism. The bigger creators, Dean and Parker, they just ignored that it was happening so they could have their event. And it's currently all coming crashing down around them. And add to that the fact they managed to spend their entire $115,000 on a single event. So the entire thing is falling apart for them.
And I hope everyone understands. So this was supposed to be the big DNC's counter to Turning Point USA, right? Turning Point is succeeding.
No. Look at this young geezer laughing my ass off hard. I'm not coping. You're coping. No, you're coping, bro. I'm not coping. The chat has never once buried me under cope. It's never happened. I've never been buried under cope, not even one time.
We are drawing huge crowds. We're moving young people substantially. We are the premier outreach organization that is doing this. It's not a Charlie Kirk thing.
Is it micro coping? Micro coping?
It's top to bottom. Our team deserves the credit. It is a movement. And so what is collapsing them? Because I get asked the question all the time, well, Charlie, what is DEI in practice? Everybody, their organization is now collapsing because some organizer by the name of Z, a Bernie Sanders former staffer, microaggressed the women by saying what? She said, well, this was really disorganized. And
this is really hard to watch with this that keeps popping up.
You people have to do better. I kid you not. They are now in a civil war that is in front of millions of people because they can't run a simple operation. They are a victim of their own ideology. And is this not a great example of how wokeism can never build anything? About how when you live under DEI, you immediately collapse. And these people's feed, literally on TikTok, which is being seen by millions of people, is legit only on F America infighting, a complete implosion for 1 week. I thought that, hey, I to my credit, I said to the team, I said, guys, this is not going to last because wokeism cannot run anything. You cannot run a church. You cannot run a company. This principle, you cannot run anything. And my team is in the chat saying that we called it, and their influencer page has been taken down. Is this not a great example of a bunch of left-wing young influencers trying to win young people, talking about how great woke is, and then woke destroys their own operation?
Well, that's the beauty of it, is that you have, I mean, I made a TikTok about it where I said that if you get together so many people that are focused on being victims, that is the basis of their content, and you get them all together, they're going to have a victim Olympics. They're going to see who.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically like getting a bunch of women together for an operation, right? No, it's meta-coping about the cope. No. You're meta-coping about your cope. Isn't that what it is? Basically just a bunch of women who got together to try to do something, right? And so it all falls apart. You know, because they're like, no, Stephanie's not. The way that you guys talk to Stephanie's it is unacceptable. It is you know what it is? They all send each other their concerns. I'm very concerned. I have some concerns about the things that I'm concerned about. They're very concerning. You're not addressing my concerns that I'm concerned about that are concerning to me. It's the same thing with this. Same, you know what I mean? Excuse me, I'm a creator, and there wasn't enough white security here for me. Excuse me.
Who can be the biggest victim.
Exactly.
And turns out they're really good at it.
They're experts in it. So now I want to play this piece of tape here. So if you don't know Parker, again, congratulations, you're about to meet him. This guy interrupts you every 3 seconds. He has such a sense of entitlement. However,
Why is he snapping his fingers while he's talking, though? Anybody else catch that? He does da-da-da and da-da-da-da-da. Why is he snapping his fingers?
finally found a way to get Parker to not interrupt you. Have a woman talk about microaggressions for a minute straight, and that shuts up Parker. Look at this like beta guy who's like the leader of the insurgency. Sit down and shut up because a woman is talking. Mind you, he interrupts you all the time. Play cut 372.
Z came in a live full of a bunch of women, and the first thing she did when she came on there was to say, I know you guys aren't educated on, like, clearly they're speaking about politics. They know what they're talking about. So what makes you feel like they don't, like, for you to say they're uneducated? One, that was the first microaggression. Two, she was very hard on saying you people. And whenever somebody says you people, it's just, you just know where it's coming from. Like, you just know, as if like they were being aggressive. And then she started bringing up BIPOC people that were part of the tour. And then she said behind the scenes, like they're not the face of the tour. They're just working behind the scenes like some workmen.
I couldn't understand a word that woman just said. Not a word of it. Now, I don't want you to get this twisted. I think what you are hearing me say is that I didn't really understand very much of what she said. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I didn't understand a word that woman just said. Nothing. Not a single word that came out of her mouth. Nothing. Not one word that I understand.
What did we just listen to? I mean,
yeah, I don't know. I have no idea what we just listened to. I have no clue what the she just said.
And this is the Democrat Party. This is Parker being silent, getting dressed down in front of thousands of people, saying these.
Was he getting dressed down? I don't know. Maybe he was getting dressed down. You know, maybe she was ordering a pizza. I have no clue. You know, I don't know. You know, I'm not sure.
These are microaggressions, and we win the oppression Olympics.
And the worst part is it's wild because I'm used to seeing them take what we say out of context. I'm used to seeing them take what you say out of context. And it's fun to watch them do it to each other, because what she just said, Z didn't say. Like, I will never defend that woman. I hope her entire pack fails. I hope their entire movement fails. But she didn't say that. What she did was.
What did she say? Does anybody know what she actually said? Okay, listen, I'm going to back this up, and I'm going to turn on the closed caption and see if we can, like, get this. Because I actually don't know what the this chick said. Okay, here we go. Let's see.
A live full of a bunch of women, and the first thing she did when she came on there was to say, I know you guys aren't educated on, like, clearly they're speaking about politics. They know what they're talking about. So what makes you feel like they don't, like, for you to say they're uneducated? One, that was the first microaggression. Two, she was very hard on saying you people. And whenever somebody says you people, it's just, you just know where it's coming from. Like, you just know, as if like they were being aggressive. And then she started bringing up BIPOC people that were part of the tour, and then she said behind the scenes, like they're not the face of the tour, they're just working behind the scenes like some workmen.
Okay, now I think I got it. So somebody there said you people, and then also said, hey, there's a lot of I don't know how they phrase it, right? How do they phrase, like, people of color? There's a lot of people of color working behind the scenes, and that triggered her. She's very upset about that. You know, I'm glad that we have closed captioning, because I actually didn't know what the fuck she was talking about. Just give me all the bacon and eggs you have. Wait, I worried about what you just heard was give me a lot of bacon and eggs. What I said was give me all the bacon and eggs you have. Yeah, that was a great scene, by the way. That was isn't that Johnson from is it Parks and Recreation or whatever?
And organizing. And that's all she's.
They have to issue these apologies. Talk about the apology tour talk about how now they have to grovel to their audiences saying, well, I just want to say I'm sorry because I knew that she was racist. She wasn't racist, for the record. There's nothing she did that was racist. Like, she literally was just like, okay, you guys aren't that, experienced in organizing. And these left-wing content influencers are now creating this mob. This is the woke mob that we stopped in November. Everybody, Donald Trump stopped this like herd of narcissists from taking over the United States government. I want to play this right now. Also, they're questioning, where is the money going? Play cut 381.
So you're telling me that the $100,000 that was actually raised by our communities is all gone, and you used it on the event at Texas A&M? Over $100,000. She was like, yep.
Wait a second. These spent $100,000 for that event? Yeah, right. Yeah, right. They spent $100,000 on that event. They spent maybe $5,000 on that event and then pocketed $95,000. $100,000? What the? What? They spent a Midwest house on this event? What?
At that point, I was completely done. But some smart women jumped in. Erica jumped in and said, hey, Z, we need receipts.
Yeah. Well, where are the... Now I want to see the receipts. Where are they?
Now, we have 1 minute remaining. Just to be clear, that was the entire operating budget of Turning Point USA for the first year, $100,000. Where did all this money go? They have $100,000 for a campus stop for some makeshift operation with not even a microphone that works and sprinklers that are on them. What's going on here?
Well, the wildest part is you look at it, they flew in 52 creators from all over the country. They rented each of them a car. They didn't provide They just rented them cars. They put them up in hotel rooms for extended periods of time, even though they were only there to talk for 4 hours. This is what I can hope is that this is emblematic of Democrat organizing.
Yes,
because I mean, this is why Kamala Harris had $2 billion and somehow managed to spend.
Great point.
Outspend
That's
that.
a great point. What do Andrea Bocelli, Steph Curry, Justin Bieber, and Tim Tebow have in common? The liberals are increasingly not as viral on TikTok or dominant as they used to be.
I know some of us have kept up the war on TikTok, while others have not. But some of us, every single night damn near, are making sure to keep up the brawl on the TikTok front. Is it thankless work? Yes. But we will continue to make sure that the lunatics on TikTok are confronted every chance we possibly get. Just saying. Is it 100% the Crucible? Yes. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. Of course not. Of course not. It's like 85, 87% tops.
Can you comment on that?
Well, I honestly think, like, right now we're seeing the fact that TikTok does push liberals. It's coming back to bite them right now because we're watching their what is equivalent to, you know, a divorce proceeding or a couples counseling on TikTok between them. But yeah, I mean, the benefit of the conservative community is that everybody knows that what we're talking about is what we actually want to talk about. Is when it comes to liberals, we have so much evidence of them being paid and being told what to say, but they know that when they talk to us, they know it's genuine because we couldn't get a dime out of the RNC if we tried. So, you know, they know they're getting the genuine thing from us. The problem is that we're only allowed to grow so far before we get taken down. You know, and that's why I'm super excited about the possibility of somebody new owning TikTok.
And also, because one small channel who operates as something akin to the special forces of all these groups goes in often in order to make sure that these TikTokers get kept in line when they're spewing their and nonsense. Now, I mean, that's just a fact. The invasions have been highly effective at curtailing the propaganda of the lunatic left.
You know, like Reed's proposal makes me very excited for the future.
Yeah, we need to get that sorted out for sure. Why do you think young people are gravitating to the right so much and are becoming more and more conservative?
Because we're awesome. Right? Because there's a whole slew now of right-wing creators who aren't doing they're not doing the get shamed by some lefty who's like, but Andrew, you smoke. You drink beer on stream. I can't believe it. Meanwhile, they're getting right. You got literal hookers who are like, I can't believe you smoke. I'm like, you smoke literal pole. What are you talking about? Because a lot of us are a lot less ashamed these days and just won't put up with any of their. And we brought logic, reintroduced logic back into a lot of these arenas. That's why. They're pretty unapologetic about it these days. Off.
Well, there's that old adage that says, you know, if you're not a liberal in your 20s, you don't have a heart, but if you're not a conservative in your 30s, you don't have a brain. The thing is that now...
Well, that adage wouldn't really work here because Charlie Kirk's question was, why do you think so many young people are gravitating towards conservatism? So if you say, well, the old adage of when you're young, you're supposed to be a leftist, and when you're older, you're supposed to be a conservative really doesn't work here. It's not... It really wasn't a good... That wasn't a good lead-in for this guy.
Now, reality is coming to these people a lot sooner. So it's happening. You know, reality is hitting.
Yeah, we could use a lot less of whatever this is, by the way. You'd use a lot less of the MAGA.
People a lot younger, so they need to recognize the reality of the world. And liberal ideology doesn't do that. It acts like everything's going to be okay, and you can, you know, make everything good with flowery terms. We're conservatives. We recognize, oh, it's going to take work. And I think a lot of people are coming to that decision sooner than they have in the past.
What do you see in your audience as to why young men especially?
Pragmatism is Christian ethics? No, it isn't. I'm proud special agents at the Crucible Special Forces, yes. We can get often where a lot of these bigger creators are terrified to go and just completely reap destruction upon leftist scumbags all over the internet. And we even do it fair. We do it completely fair, which makes it just like 10 times worse, you know, for them. 10 times worse.